And that sort of fits in with the next item, which is consideration for approval of submission of DPI application for Global Education Achievement Certificate.
Mike's going to come up, and we've got a short video that we want to play that talks about the value of international education. Oh, wait, so we not have volume?
Lower right, so you see what you're doing. Oops. Now look at it.
But it doesn't come off.
From my perspective.
Are you thinking TVs? Do we need that? Should I try?
I'll go see if I can put speakers. Hang on.
We can have Mike present, and then we'll show this afterwards. It's just about a 4-minute video. It's not
I've got these for you as well. So good evening. My name's Michael Bartz, German teacher at the high school. With the discussions of the Department of Defense grant, this certificate came up within that discussions, the Global Education Achievement Certificate. And about 3 weeks ago, I went to the Foreign Language Convention over in Appleton, Wisconsin, where I had the opportunity to go to a seminar on the certificate and was slightly inspired by what they were saying. This certificate has the recognition of the Department of Public Instruction, has the recognition of a lot of the School Board Association, has recognition of a lot of manufacturing associations throughout the state. And what it's trying to do is get global education in the school and focused upon it. And it's being really led by language teachers. It's a language-driven certificate with global education included in it. It is a very rigorous certificate. This is not a gimme. I have here what we have right now for our first draft of what we're going to apply to the DPI if given permission, of what a student would need to do within their 4-year cycle of high school to be awarded this certificate. The certificate starts with 4 continuous years of one language. So they would have to take 4 years at the high school of either Spanish or German. Then they have a choice where they would have to get another 4 credits of courses at the high school, and this is where it gets goes across disciplines here, which is really neat. They would have to take 4 credits. First, of course, world history is global in just by itself, and every freshman takes it anyway, so that credit would count. Then they could take a second year of a foreign language to get to the 8 credits, and then they would start choosing. They could take AP macroeconomics, half a credit of marketing. They could take environmental science, world geography. And the art there, we have put in folk art with the help of Ms. Genrich for a half credit. AP literature would fall into it, and or English 12 world literature. So once they have the 4 continuous years of a language, they need to choose 4 credits of those others to broaden the global perspective of their education. And that's the first step. Step 2 is now every year, so freshmen through seniors, they would have to read a book outside of their coursework that dealt on a global issue or global theme, and write a reflection, a 1-page reflection of how that broadened their understanding of the world. In addition, they would have to choose another piece of media. They could choose a theater, they could choose a film, or if they wanted, they could also choose print that had to do with global themes, and also write a reflection on that. So that's 2 extra per year, and they can't coincide with their regular coursework.
Would those have to be pre-approved?
They would be pre-approved. I've already worked with Mary Neve on a book list, and then movies and whatnot would be pre-approved then as well,
Okay.
that they fit a global theme. We don't just want them watching some of these silly movies out there that they think would fit that probably wouldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. I could name a few, but I don't want to. Okay. Then they would have to, so that's step 2. Step 3, they would have to participate in school-sponsored events. The first activity is they would have to be a member of the International Club all 4 years at the high school. On top of that, then they would have to participate in some type of activity that basically travels abroad. So what Ms. Ritter just spoke about, when that comes up and going, would qualify. The Toma to Eschborn program that I've spoken to you on a few times about would qualify. If they were to go to a Concordia Language College visit in the summer, that would qualify. Any pre-approved language immersion summer program would qualify. Any activity that they did in the summer that they had pre-approved would also qualify, and that might then include our church mission trips overseas that we have quite a few of in the community. As long as they're pre-approved through us and through the committee there, then they would qualify as well. For those who cannot financially afford that, I didn't want to make this certificate unattainable to them. And what I did then there is, number 1 under C, they could be an officer in International Club for 2 years. I think it creates a higher level of responsibility on them, creates some leadership skills, and it offers them the opportunity to get further involved. But there's not the financial component of going overseas, which I think is important. And of course, if they were a foreign exchange student, that would qualify as well, or if they hosted for any period of time, would also qualify. And then the last component is community service. Typically then as a senior, they would have to do a 20-hour community project based on global themes. And of course here in Toma we have a couple of those that are just suited right for this, to connect the school and the community. I'm thinking of course of the Jesse Parker and the water fund that they work on. But of course they could do anything that they wanted as long as it's pre-approved and goes to 20 hours. It is not an easy certificate to achieve. Right now in the state of Wisconsin, 1 student has achieved it. For this year, 3 students are on track to achieve this certificate. And we would like to have the opportunity, we want to apply, and we would like to have the opportunity to have 1 or 2 from Toma High School achieve it next year. I don't think a senior this year can do all of the back work. If I'm proven wrong, that would be fine. Okay, but I do think there's a junior if they had a summer. I'm going to require all the back work. If we got a junior, they're going to have to go back and do 6 reflections. They're going to have to read 6 books and or watch movies and do reflections on them. They're going to have to fulfill the course requirements. And as a senior, I don't think would be possible. If I'm proven wrong, that's great. But as a junior, I think it's certainly possible, and a sophomore, easily. And I would really like to get into the freshman classes, the Spanish ones and the German ones, later this spring after we get approval, and let them know of what's going on, and then start talking to incoming freshmen for next year of what this means. And
you have required that they have to be an international club all 4 years.
Some things we can't.
Okay, so
That would be one of the few things I think we could. So if we have a junior right now who wasn't, and they got actively involved second semester after we got, I think once we get approved, then if they get involved then and stay involved next year, I think we can't harm them on that one, because there's just no way for them to make that up. But I think they could easily make up, well, not easily, but they certainly could make up all of the other coursework and whatnot. I mean, if there was a course or something that they couldn't, I think there's going to be a tiny bit of flexibility. But on the reflections and that, I don't think there's going to be, because I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to get approved either. I mean, we have the application 95% complete, but we haven't sent it, and we don't know how long it'll take from the DPI to get back. I guess one of the big questions also is, what does this mean for the student? And the biggest reason I'm here is because this is going to actually appear on their transcript. It'll appear on the bottom that they achieved the Global Education Achievement Certificate. And what that means is, first they'll get special cords for graduation, and secondly they will get a heads up on college applications. They will certainly have something quite unique to write about on their essays for college applications and what the colleges are looking for. The colleges know that this is out there, and it's being recognized by the DPI. So it offers the students a lot. Education is going global, and these themes of what we're talking about in the school. Everything we do everything here in one way or another. We just need to start recognizing the students who go above and beyond and do a little bit more, and we need to start recognizing them for doing it. All this coursework, it's all being done. All I did is go ask a couple teachers to help me to write some of this stuff, and that all came from them. I couldn't write a course description of AP literature if I tried. So
I'm passing around the actual application that has to be sent to DPI. Mike is asking for you to approve our ability to send in an application, but then it's up to DPI to determine whether they would allow...
Whether they deem the application acceptable or not.
The application being premised upon this...
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. This, to me, this is much easier to read than that application.
So all of this information is just...
Is absolutely in that application. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and because at that meeting, I worked with Gerhard Fischer, who's one of the head global educators at the DPI, and he said that it probably should get approved by school boards, because once we get approved, it's going to go on the DPI website that Toma's approved to offer this certificate, and second of all, because the school board is the final authority in transcripts, and that this will be then put on the transcript.
So if that application to DPI gets approved, and then we have this global education certificate, and a student applies for it, then it's within the school's ability to approve the certificate upon each student. They don't apply then to DPI.
Once we're actually approved by the DPI, complete control comes back of course, the school board first and foremost, secondly to the high school, or Miss Artie, and then thirdly to myself.
So as you said, they would get special cords?
Yes, we're going to try and get them special cords for graduation. I think this is rigorous enough to justify that. And then they will also, on their transcript, if we want to go so far as we can give a special stamp or a special deal on their high school diploma, noting it. This could be noted theoretically on their high school diploma, but most certainly will be noted on their transcript.
Great. Are we ready for the video?
We are.
Excitement. First of all, we have to develop an excitement and opportunities for students to experience global issues and meeting and talking to people from other countries. That's really critical.
We live in global markets, and we need to reach those global markets and understand
I thought that would just disappear. I'm sorry.
Anybody cool?
their needs, necessities, risks.
From my perspective, I think people just have to learn that it's a global world, it's a big marketplace. Essentially, this is a new world and it's a new day.
and the way we did things in the 1900s and in the 20th century, we have to set those pieces aside and realize that the world is operating differently, that it's completely intertwined.
Because that's what employers are looking for. They're looking for people who can connect across cultures, across country lines.
The concept of perspective and empathy and other points of view is central to international education.
Once people develop relationships with someone from another culture, they don't want to let go of that, so then it grows in both places.
Changing attitudes, helping students become compassionate worldwide citizens.
They really actually are changing who they are, their perspectives about the world. They're learning to look at things in a different way, and they think about their future in a different way, I think, when they understand what life is like somewhere else.
This speaks, all of these experiences speak to the human element, to the power of building personal relationships and learning through people and with people.
In today's world, you can't just sit back and know about things.
Parents want the best for their children. They want them to be able to react and respond and participate in a global society.
It's too important for the future of the state and for our children to not be vested in international education.
We all know that the problems we have in the world today are not going to be solved by any one nation.
I think we hear and talk about global competency all across the state of Wisconsin.
We cannot be satisfied with the status quo, and we cannot prepare students for tomorrow with some of the skills of yesterday. We need new thinking. We need renewal.
Ultimately, we can have a world that's more peaceful, that's more united, and one that offers opportunities for all people.
And if we as the leaders in public education can't be aware of the importance of intercultural relations and intercultural knowledge, we will be failing our students sincerely.
So I think that speaks well to the importance of a lot of what we're trying to do in the Toma School District with our DODEA grant, looking at foreign languages. You know, I think that our military families will see the value in this as well because of the traveling that they have done.
Absolutely.
And it's what our kids need for the future. Our world is connected, and the more that we can help students.
This is what the universities are expecting. This is what high-paying employers are expecting. And I think we need to start moving more in this direction. And I think this is a great first start.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, apart from those big picture issues that were mentioned in the film and that you just addressed, it's also nice just having a curriculum that allows students, again, to specialize in a certain area. I mean, whether it's English, math,
I also think this
languages. It's great that we can have students be recognized for an emphasis in that area.
I also think this could be something that could really start motivating some staff as well. When we start talking of working as a team and not in our little groups, the conversations I've had in the last 2 weeks trying to get this application together have been very stimulating and very rewarding. And I think moving forward as a team, we could really do some really neat things and be very rewarding for the staff and for the students in the entire district.
So it creates a little energy in the
Absolutely. I was thoroughly inspired myself.
And there's cross-discipline.
Yeah, I could not have written this, and I probably should at least thank here publicly the people who helped me write this, just so they know. Mr. Carney, Ms. White, Ms. Catalano, Mr. Briggs, Ms. Hinkle, Mr. Jacobson, Ms. Genrich, and Ms. Neve. Without them, this application would not be anywhere near where it's at this point. Couldn't have done it without their help at this point. And I think as a group, and the World Language Department as well, I think as a group we could really bring this a long ways and do some really great things in the school.
Great. It's very good work. I Looking for a motion then to approve the submission of the DPI application for the Global Education Achievement Certificate.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve that application as presented. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion carries and that application is approved. And I think we're all very impressed with that work.
Thank you. And we will let the school board know when we get the recognition from the DPI to do this.
Great.
And I'll let you know then also how we're going to move forward and launch this once we do.
Excellent.
Okay?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do too.